If you don't know how a Schengen visa refusal letter looks like, as you can see on my screen, you will have this EU zone logo on your letter and they will state why this letter, Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another informative video on the common reasons for your Schengen visa refusal. Now, as you know, Schengen visa is one of the most difficult visas to obtain on an Indian passport, and Indians have lost over 600 crore rupees in 2024 for refusals with regards to Schengen visa and US visa. So in this video guys, I'll talk about the most common refusals for Schengen visa and how you can avoid them. So as usual, before I get started, as you can see on my screen, 98% of you who are regularly watching my channel are non-subscribers. So kindly hit that subscribe button and support my channel, and also you will get a lot of informative videos like this which I've done in the past and also in the future. So the reason number one why the Schengen visa refusals are most common with Indians is unclear day-to-day itinerary. Now you plan for a trip to go to France and you show a day-to-day itinerary like for 15 days or 25 days. You know you want to visit other countries in Europe, but you give itinerary showing only France for like 15 or 20 days, and that is been the most common reason for Schengen visa refusals, guys. Now look, if you want to go to 5, 6, 7, 8 or 10 countries within 2 weeks or within 3 weeks, you have to mention those countries in your day-to-day itinerary. Unclear day-to-day itinerary will only lead to visa rejections. For quick example, I want to give you my own example. I went to Norway in September 2024 and I wanted to go to Norway, Iceland, Sweden, all the Scandinavia countries, which comprises of 8 to 9 countries. I visited all the 8 to 9 countries and I never gave the itinerary for only Norway. I applied for Norway visa, but I never gave 15 days I'll be visiting Norway. Now they are very smart. They will understand that you are not going to visit just one country for 15 days, and this is the most common reason of preparing unclear day-to-day itinerary. So when people come to me, when my subscribers or when people ping me on Instagram to come to me to prepare day-to-day itineraries, I mention the same thing to them even before helping them. First of all, I tell them, if you are planning for one single country for like 15 to 20 days for tourism, it is definitely going to be a straight rejection, because they are very smart. They know that you are not going to come for one country. They expect you to be transparent in the form of showing all the countries you visit, and the country you apply has to be the first port of country. It has to be recommended to be the first port of entry or stay maximum or equal days when compared to other countries. So let's give my own example. I went to Norway, Iceland, Finland, Estonia, Sweden. Let's take these 5 countries. I went to 4 more countries. Let's take these 5 countries. So when I'm applying for Norway has to be the maximum or equal number of days in other countries. Like for example, if I'm staying in Norway for 4 days, I can't exceed staying for beyond 4 days in other Schengen countries. I can only stay equivalent or less. That's why I did Norway 4 days, Iceland 4 days, and the rest of the countries 2 days or 3 days. Because I know this will be a straight rejection. When I submitted the day-to-day itinerary, then my visa got approved, guys. So unclear day-to-day itinerary is the most common thing as per the research or me speaking to a lot of people. Before I make any video, guys, I speak to a lot of people on the Schengen visa refusal letters, etc. And this is the most common thing. Reason number 2 is unclear ties to your home country. Now, this is a special case if you don't have a stable job in India, and if you're not working, if you're not owning any business, or if you're not part of as an employee to your employer, then it's going to be really difficult. If you submit your application as a freelancer, they know that you can still go to Europe and then work and then make money. So this case mostly comes with regards to freelancers. They find it very difficult to get visas. There's a couple of freelancers in terms of photography who pinged me. They earn pretty good. They earn pretty well for Bangalore, and they also work for a big high photographer, but for them it's like freelancer. They only work when they get projects, otherwise they're idle. So in this case, if they want to visit Europe, it becomes a bit difficult because they're going to see no pay slips. IT returns are being filed, but no pay slips, no leave letter, nothing from your employer. So it becomes a bit difficult for them to give visas stating that this person may be looking to search a job in through a Schengen visa, he's planning to work illegally. So then even if they get 0.1% doubt, your visas will be rejected. So if you are a freelancer, try to get employed for a temporary basis until you get your Schengen visa, or try to make your application more good in terms of speak to your employer and try to make it as a permanent employment in terms of giving you pay slips and leave letters and have a HR system, etc. And this is the major issue, guys. This has been the major issue always. Remember, freelancers are having US visas, but you cannot enter Schengen zone with US visa on an Indian passport. You still have to go through the process. So please do remember this. If you are a freelancer, I know this problem is very difficult. It's easy for me to stand here and suggest you, but try to get an employment letter or a permanent employment from your employer, even though you're a freelancer. Common reason or refusal number 3 is travel insurance. Now, travel insurance is mandatory for Schengen visa and you have to produce along with your application. If you do not have travel insurance, VFS will not even accept your application, guys. So travel insurance has to be minimum 30,000 euros. So I've already suggested you many times, like if you go to any travel insurance company, I'm not recommending you anything, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. Go to Google, whichever is cheapest, always take it from there. I take in Tata AG because the UI is very good. That's the only reason. You compare between travel insurances, take whichever is the cheapest and whichever helps you a lot. And also minimum, I would say, coverage of $500,000, 500,000 USD. Even there's 100,000 USD to 300,000 USD and 1 million USD, but always go for like 300,000 or 500,000 US dollars. Always ensure that medical emergency is covered, COVID is covered, and most treatment like emergency treatments, surgeries are covered in that insurance, because travel insurance plays a vital role if anything happens to you, because you are on a tourist visa and you'll have to pay in euros in Europe, and that is going to be really expensive. And if you're not able to pay, it's sometimes they'll have to take the burden on a EU zone level. So they always recommend you to take a very good high level travel insurance. Reason number 4 is having sufficient bank balance. Now I'll speak a bit detail about this, guys, because this has been one of the most common reasons for Schengen visa rejections or refusals. Many of you have pinged me on Instagram. Many people have pinged me on Instagram saying my visa got rejected because of insufficient bank balance. Now, if you are going alone, what is the expectation? I'll tell you. So if you're going on a 15-day trip, it differs on country to country. So let's take an example of France. So France expects you have to have 100 euros per day to spend in France. So if you're going for 15-day trip, so conversion rate, let's assume it's 1.5 lakhs. So if you have around 2 to 3 lakhs per person, it is very good, highly recommended, because your Schengen visas won't be rejected. If you are a sponsor, if you're going with your wife, if your wife is a housewife, then you need to have at least bank balance of 3 to 4 lakhs. Now, last week I prepared day-to-day itinerary for someone, and he is the sole earner. He has 2 kids, he has his wife, and he's also taking his mother-in-law. In this case, he needs to have bank balance at least minimum 8 to 10 lakhs. Because if you count for 5 people, even though they might be small children, but if you count for 5 people, for so many, he's going for around 20 days, definitely you need to have a bank balance of more than 8 to 9 lakhs. So it differs person to person, case to case. Every person's situation is different. So you just cannot say he had 1 lakh bank balance, even I am going to have 1 lakh bank balance and I'm going to apply, my Schengen visa is going to be accepted. It does not work like that. You need to have a minimum bank balance of 2 to 3 lakhs per person. If you're a couple, 4 lakhs. So calculate accordingly, guys. You should have so much of bank balance for them to prove that you will not be bankrupt when you go to Europe and you have sufficient funds and sufficient money to spend in Europe. So the next reason I want to talk about and stress on is the leave letter. Now, leave letter is very important document if you're an employee, if you're working in any IT, if you're working as a doctor in a hospital, if you're working as a lawyer in a law firm, if you're working basically any profession, guys, you need to have a leave letter from your employer. If you're working in IT, basically you know what to do. You have to contact the HR team. They will send you a leave letter. First you have to approve the leaves, apply the leaves in the system, get it approved from your manager, and then take a leave letter. And then the second thing is you have to ensure that the leave letter, the date, everything is mentioned properly, and they say in the leave letter that they don't have any issue in sending you to Europe and it is not a problem for them. Now what happens? People show fake documentation. You know what happened with the donkey route. You know what happened with scamsters, visa agents trying to forge your documents and then submitting it to embassies. So my recommendation here is, guys, is always go through VFS. Don't contact any visa agents. VFS are authorized agents for applying Schengen visas from embassies. Go to VFS, submit your documents. They are not going to forge your documents. They are not going to do anything with the documents. VFS are trusted, and millions of people, of Indians and other parts of the world, have got visas through VFS. Now, if there is a two-step process if you go through a visa agent. First, you give documents to your visa agents, which may or may not be misused, we don't know. And visa agents will then go and submit it to VFS. So there is a two-step process. So always directly go to VFS and then submit your documentation and get your visa. So leave letter and no objection letter from your employer is very important. For example, if you are working in Infosys, contact the HR team, get the letter stating that you are on leave from 18th to maybe 2nd of the next month, April 2nd to April 20th. Get the leave letter in place and show everything. It should match your day-to-day itinerary, and you have to make it very certain and sure, guys. That's all. It's very simple. You have to ensure that it is legitimate and it is proper. So I hope this was very good. I could have spoken more on this, but I don't want to make this video too lengthy. There are a couple of more reasons for visa refusals, and those are very important. That's why I saved the best for the last. That is previous visa rejections. Now, if you have had a previous visa rejection, that will matter a lot because your biometrics are there, your biometrics are recorded, and your entire application is with them, guys. So if you try to fake it again, it is not going to work. If your Schengen visa is rejected for the first time, always mention that your Schengen visa was rejected in the cover letter. That's why I tell you, cover letter and day-to-day itinerary are the most important documents. So you have to mention this is your visa processing number through VFS and it got rejected because of so and so reason. I have corrected this. Now my documentation is this. You have to take the responsibility and ownership to mention this in your cover letter. It is very important. Even if you are applying to a different Schengen country, it is very important for you to be proactive and mention those things in your existing visa application, in your cover letter. That's why I say if you have a previous visa rejection, it is your whole and sole responsibility to mention this in your cover letter. And the next important reason is the travel history. Now, travel history plays a huge role in providing Schengen visas. Now, they don't officially say this, okay, travel history is mandatory for a Schengen visa, but travel history is very important, guys. Now, travel history, if you have a travel history of even small countries or big countries, it doesn't matter. But before applying a Schengen visa, if you do have a travel history, it's going to help your application a lot, trust me. And if you have traveled a lot before applying Schengen visa, rest assured your Schengen visa is definitely going to be approved, because when they look at your passport, when they look at so many stamps and so many stickers on your passport, it is going to be approved either ways if your document of other parts of documentation is correct. So if you don't have a travel history, if you're applying Schengen visa for the first time, ensure that all your documentation, your itinerary, your cover letter, everything is spot on, your IT return receipt, everything is spot on, and you submit your application. Because a slight problem would lead to visa rejections. Even if everything is right, sometimes visa is rejected. So if you have a travel history, mention your travel history in the cover letter. Again, guys, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if you need itinerary and cover letter, I'm charging it a very small price. You can reach out to me on Instagram. Okay, you can follow me and then ping me on Instagram, because I'm not getting notified. You can reach out to me on Instagram. I've prepared cover letters for so many people in the past 1 year, and all of them have got their visas and they have successfully traveled and come back. So if you need it, you can contact me on Instagram. I'll be happy to prepare it for you guys with special cases. I'll also give you a checklist on what I need information, and sensitive information you don't have to give me, like date of birth or passport number. I don't need those information. Apart from that, I'll ask you some basic information to provide for me, so I can prepare the cover letters and day-to-day itineraries. So if you I forgot to show it in the beginning of the video. So if you don't know how a Schengen visa refusal letter looks like, as you can see on my screen, you will have this EU zone logo on your letter, and they will state stating in this letter why your visa was rejected. So you can appeal the Schengen visa rejection within 1 month of paying some 150 or 170 euros depending upon the country. So you can pay that fine, and you can get you can appeal for you. So it's basically like you fail in a subject and you can apply for revaluation. Similarly, guys, if your visa gets rejected, you can appeal that particular visa, and then you have 30 days time, and you have to pay an amount of some, like I said, 150 or 170 euros, and get your visa application reviewed again. So I don't know what is the success rate in doing this, but this is one of the things which you can do if you feel if your documentation is correct and still your visa got rejected. So that's it, guys. I didn't want to make this video more lengthy at all. I hope this was very informative, and I hope you are proactive and you submit your application properly. I'll catch you guys in my next video.